Felicia. Thanks, Felicia. We got this technical stuff. It's okay. It always works out, but we found a way to get through, and I was trying to figure out, how can I call you? So I just got my old telephone and thought, let's do the audio through my phone, and then I'd be glad to, stay on with the video. There we go. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Let's see here real quick. All right, I'm still mute on this side. But thank you so much, Felicia, as always, for giving RBFCU a chance to support WGU. We are excited about, the opportunities to continue to collaborate and work with you, and also to talk about employment opportunities in Texas, if you will, and as we continue to grow in Oklahoma. As we look to grow in Oklahoma, we're excited to announce a brand new opportunity for RBFCU, which is to start working with a credit union in Oklahoma, and start, moving in there and helping with some of the colleges, universities there, and also WGU. A little bit about myself. I'm just actually this week celebrating 16 years with Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. I've been in the human resource department the entire time. Within my role at RBFCU, I supported being a executive corporate recruiter, managing all the recruiters, and then ultimately my current role is the director of HR events for RBFCU. So that focuses on career fairs, it focuses on going to military installations and helping with transitioning service members. And something I'm doing this for the next 12 weeks is I'm helping to manage our 31 interns that have joined us for a 12-week program that we have during the summer. And Felicia, I just check, we're still good, everything's good?
Yes.
You
Yep.
can still hear
I
me?
can see you and hear you now.
Fantastic, awesome. Well, and so my role today is a little bit different. So I don't do a lot of interviewing, but I meet with individuals across the state of Texas, and we talk about RBFCU employment opportunities, and how potentially RBFCU could be an organization that you would want to consider. One of the things that it's pretty important to share with RBFCU is that we're still strong, we're stable, and we definitely are growing. We are only currently, again, in the state of Texas, San Antonio, Austin. We're in Dallas, Plano, Frisco, Allen, Fort Worth, Corpus Christi, New Braunfels, Colony, Bedford for now. You probably know I didn't say Houston, maybe in time, but I think the next step for us is going to be Oklahoma City, again, where we are currently going through a merger with a smaller credit union, so we'll have RBFCUs in Oklahoma City. One of the things that's been exciting over the 16 years I've been within San Antonio and with RBFCU is how we've continued to grow, especially just before COVID, we became the largest credit union in the state of Texas. We hit about 10 billion in assets, and then COVID hit. And one of the things that happened is many of us sort of were looking for how do we move forward. Organizations were doing the same thing, wondering, what's next. And what we did is we sort of just continued to grow internally. We didn't open any branches during that time. Our internship program was put on hiatus or hold for a little bit. We had one virtual intern that continued our program even through COVID, and then we relaunched it about 3 years ago. It's been in the current form. It's been the current format, if you will, for about 10 years. We started with one intern, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 12, then 20, then COVID. And then we sort of came through on the other side, and today we're excited to welcome 31 interns to the RBFCU campus. They are internal internships, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So RBFCU, again, is more than 70 years old. With the branches that we have, many of our branches in locations through Texas, Although we are a credit union, you still have to, as a financial institution and credit union, you still have to apply for membership. About 20 plus years ago, there was only a few ways to be a member of RBFCU, and today there's probably about 5,000 ways to be a member of RBFCU. So that has been critical to help us to really grow. And what we did is we sort of changed, we did change the charter of RBFCU. So instead of, having to work on a military installation or being in civil service, RBFCU's change in our charter was to support communities that are underserved by financial institutions, and that has fueled the growth. So we are not for profit, which makes a huge difference. So we are able to offer, I believe, and we believe, products and services that are very beneficial to our members and the community. So those are some of the things that we have now. When I started, we were just in San Antonio and just in Austin, and again, the growth has really been pretty significant. As far as employment opportunities, today, because we are closer, just 6 years later after hitting 10 billion, we're almost at 20 billion. So we've almost been double in size in the last 6 years. So I always say it took us 70 years to get to $10 billion in asset and another 6 years to get to 20. And so it's been pretty amazing. Now, the main focus of our growth here recently has been in the Dallas area, Dallas and the Plano and Frisco, Fort Worth, Tarrant County. We've opened several branches here recently, and we're poised to open several additional branches, not only in Dallas, Fort Worth, but also we have a few additional branches that we're opening in Austin as well. So what do these roles typically look like? So we have many of the positions are branch operations. So it's somebody who is working at our branches, somebody walks into our branch and needs help with maybe a checking account or a savings account, or maybe they want to get a credit card, or maybe they want to talk to somebody about a car loan or boat loan, or maybe it's a mortgage, if you will. So many of our branch operations team members can help with those type of questions. But then sometimes people just want to, make a deposit or maybe, take some money out of the account. And so we continue to get a lot of traffic through our branch operations. How many? We're almost at 70 branches across the state of Texas. So again, a lot of branch opportunities. Today, if you were to go to the website, there's probably about 27 positions currently in our website. Yes, many are in branch, but then we have IT, we have mortgage, we have risk and compliance. We also own our own investment company, insurance company, title, mortgage, appraisal, and then also a real estate company. Cooper Sotheby is a real estate company that RBFC purchased several years ago. So, I mean, if you're looking for a career in the financial services industry, we definitely have all those types of jobs and positions that you would expect at a financial institution. But then one of the other things that is extremely important to us is IT opportunities. So we have web development, which is a growing part of our enterprise, but also we have risk, and we have a lot of our AI type positions that we are currently continuing to grow. So from IT to compliance to accounting and finance, sometimes human resources, but definitely the IT opportunities and primarily branch operations as well. Now, I wanted to tell you a little bit about, if you were to go to our website today, you see 27 positions. You may go there tomorrow and you may not see as many positions. Every day we're adding, every day we're hiring. We don't like to keep our postings out there very long, and one of the main reasons is because we're moving through the process very quickly. So if somebody is if you go to the website and you see a position you're interested in, we absolutely would ask you to apply as quickly as you possibly can, because it's going to be important. And the recruiters start moving the process forward very quickly. If we were to keep a requisition or job posting out there for a month, we'd have so many applicants. We're fortunate that individuals consider opportunities with RBFC, but we want to hire. We don't want to send out decline letters, right? So for every job posting, you hire one person and then you sort of have to decline the others. So we move the process very quickly. So we'll post a position, we'll start working the requisitions. We have a great recruitment team, and so they're moving the process very quickly. So what I always say, if you see something out there that you're interested in, get ready to apply as quickly as you can. And if you don't see something, please come back, take a look at the employment opportunities that we have. We are updating all the time. And I think it helps you to be, thoughtful. So maybe have us on one of those of a daily game plan if you're looking for employment opportunities to come back and visit our site. Where do we post our jobs? I think that's also going to be important. Obviously, our own internal website, rbfcu.org /careers, but then also when we post our jobs internally on our own platform, and it's called Workday, which is very popular applicant tracking system. Then what happens is it automatically will go to Indeed.com, and then it'll go to several other websites automatically. So our recruiters don't have to sort of individually post these positions. They automatically get transferred to these other websites because of the relationships we have with these applicant tracking systems and these applicant platforms that are out there, recruitment platforms. So our own internal website, we also post our positions on Work in Texas. Many different areas have their own, cities have their own Work in Texas. In Austin, it's Workforce Solutions capital area, but Work in Texas is where you can find also employment opportunities for RBFCU. LinkedIn as well. So a little bit difference about the LinkedIn platform is it does take a recruiter manually to upload those positions, and there is definitely a cost involved when it comes to that. We will post on LinkedIn positions that are typically more difficult to fill, but we'll also post our internship opportunities. It's a great way to brand and to connect and build your network. But again, all of our positions will be posted on Indeed. Curious for those that are in the audience, have you go to Handshake? Do any of you go to Handshake and look at what career opportunities are in Handshake? Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's definitely a resource I would recommend. And I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Thank you. Handshake again is a phenomenal platform for employers to see what sort of career fairs are taking place, but also a recruiter will manually update those employment opportunities. And so a couple things. Please don't put all your eggs in one basket. Handshake, you obviously will see some great positions available, but know that Indeed, I definitely recommend Indeed as far as the number one website to find positions. You'll find all the internships, you'll find all of our employment opportunities and the employment opportunities of others. Here's the main reason. Indeed.com, there's not a cost associated with us posting our positions on Indeed. They sort of scrape our website, and then what they do is they post them on Indeed. So there's not a fee. If you want to highlight your jobs on Indeed, so if anybody goes to Indeed and they type in branch operations or accountant or financial services, or maybe it's a project manager, Indeed does a keyword search. And if you are an employer and you want to make sure your jobs sort of are at the top of the list, then you work with Indeed. There's a nominal fee, so they help to promote your free job postings on their website. So great platform. But one of the other things with Indeed, you'll see sometimes their jobs are sponsored or they're featured. Please know that means that the employer is really looking to get those positions filled. So again, working with Indeed to make that happen. Any questions so far?
If anybody has any questions, feel free to type those into the chat and I can call them out for us. Or if you'd like to ask in person, feel free to raise your hand and then I can go and unmute you. But I would like to say I did post several of the positions in Handshake. If anybody in here, and I do recognize a couple of names, so I think we have a couple of applicants with us today. But just know that anytime you apply to a hot job in Handshake, it is typically redirecting you to the website. If you
Correct.
do not get redirected to the website and you do an application in Handshake, I agree with Glenn. It never hurts to do it in both places or just go directly to the website and do it if it doesn't redirect you. Because sometimes recruiters just don't make it back as often. You can imagine if they're getting,
Absolutely.
700 applications for one job, they don't necessarily have to go to a secondary source to look at applications when they can fill it through the one that's right there in front of them. So we do have several of y'all's positions up, and a few applicants have come through, but they were all directed to the ATS system, so y'all don't have to go fishing for them, Glenn.
Fantastic. Thank you, Felicia. Felicia, what were maybe one or two of those positions that you posted?
Let me see. I have it up. So I did put the senior IT auditor,
Fantastic.
um, the HR business partner, which I believe we have a couple of applicants for that one present today.
HR. Who
Um,
wants to work in HR? No, no. Great opportunities. I love it. I love it. We have a wonderful team, and definitely HR has changed my life.
We
Well,
do have a question.
oh,
What
sure.
are personal traits you'd wish to see in an RBFCU applicant?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Actually, it's really that question flows to the next part of my conversation, if you will. So I'll answer it as I continue to move forward. I think most importantly, not just for RBFC, but I think any recruiter, one of the traits we look for is effort, positive attitude, and we look for initiative. I mean, those are things that are definitely important. We always want somebody to leave a first positive and memorable impression, and that can definitely be done, face to face if you're doing your elevator pitch. But I believe, and I'll share some of my recommendations. I think you can also do this as you apply and submit your resume or even cover letter. But effort, positive attitude, and initiative. Those are traits I think many, if not all, recruiters look for when they're reviewing applicants. Um, so let me continue to move on. So we talked about RBFCU, a little bit about my journey, my elevator pitch. We talk about career opportunities, where to look, where to find jobs. And so let's say you see a position out there that you're interested in at RBFCU. I think the most important thing, and I think we also look for, is when somebody applies for a position, we want to know that you've done a little research, if you will. So your application is definitely tailored and it's targeted specifically for that organization. So what does that mean? You hear about it all the time. I'll go to conferences and the recruiters, hiring managers, and say we want a resume that's tailored and targeted. But usually the additional information isn't provided. Um, so this is my take on it. So if you're applying for Felicia, what was that position again, real quick? Someone the senior.
We had the senior IT auditor.
Okay, great team without a doubt. So let's say that you are applying for the senior IT auditor position with RBFCU. So what I believe is important, again, a tailor targeted resume. So let me give you my side of what that sort of looks like on your resume. So on the top of everybody's resume, your name, your contact information, your phone number, and usually towards the top. I think if you want to create a tailored and targeted resume for the senior IT auditor position, I think the next category should be career objective. And it should say something like, my career objective is to obtain the senior IT auditor position with Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, where I can utilize my experience, my education, to meet the growing needs of its members. Something along those lines, right? The position, the company, and the why. Don't make us guess what you want to do. Tell us exactly at the very top of your resume. One of the other things that I say is if you fold your resume in half, the top portion of the first page of your resume is so critically important because that's where you get the attention of a recruiter who may be looking at hundreds of resumes every day. You want them, what do you have, five, Felicia, 5 to 14 seconds, right, to get the attention of a recruiter. Well, make them
Yep.
slow down by showing them that you really took the time to tailor your resume. Career objective, the position, the company, and the why. I'm slowing down. Okay, this is somebody who took the time to update their resume specifically with the name of our the name of our company on their resume, and specifically the position they're interested in. You know, you'll see a lot of resumes that will say summary or professional profile. Understand it, right? But if you're applying for a job, take it to that next level, right? Tailor it specifically for the job to the question that was asked earlier. Demonstrate your effort, your positive attitude, and your initiative to be the most competitive candidate. So then after that, every job you'll ever see, everyone that's out there, we always have to list the requirements of the job, right? If you go out there, you see every job posting. So you see senior IT auditor. Then under that, usually at the very bottom of any job posting, you'll see required requirements or summary of qualifications. Well, now with AI embedded in so many different platforms, applicant tracking platforms, you know, sometimes your resumes could be scanned, and these systems are looking for anybody. If your application is being scanned by an applicant tracking system with AI embedded into it? What do you think they're looking for? Anybody? How about keywords? Keywords, right? Think about it. So they are looking for keywords. They're looking to see if you meet the qualifications of those positions. Many times the keywords are listed in the job posting for everybody to see. Everybody can see it. We can't hide what we're looking for. We publish it. We put it out there. So if you meet those qualifications, right, I usually recommend on your resume, remember the first category is career objective. The second category I recommend is summary of qualifications. Copy the requirements of the job posting that are out there for everybody to see. Put it at the top of your resume, but then you show us how you meet the qualifications. And those keywords are embedded. So for some reason, if your resume was scanned, the keywords are there and it shows how you've met the qualifications. That's effort. That's definitely taking effort, and it's taking the initiative. Um, then skills. Most of these postings will have skills that are referenced in the job posting. This is what we're looking for. Sometimes even certifications. So again, my recommendation on what this looks like on your resume, your template, if you will, career objectives, summary of qualification, and the skills related specifically to what that job posting is you're applying to in that position. Makes sense. If they scan it, for the most part, you'll make it through. But the other thing is you just help the recruiter slow down and read your resume, right? Look at this. They've got all the information we need. They're showing us how they are a competitive candidate for this position. I think it's important. You know, I think the next category should be your wonderful education. Wonderful education. Make sure you highlight your education. Then after that, I recommend employment, your career profile, if you will, the jobs that you have, whatever the experience is. I do get a lot of questions. Do you post the positions that are relevant? I would say you post them all because it shows employment progression, and sometimes it helps to open up a conversation. I'll give you an example. I was meeting with a military spouse. He worked at a golf course. He didn't somehow during our conversation it came out that he worked there. We would have had a wonderful conversation, and we did, because I also worked at a golf course. But sometimes it opens up the dialogue for conversation, and it is a true reflection of the types of jobs that you have. If there's a gap in employment, sometimes it could be not necessarily a red flag, but there may be concerns. The recruiter may say, why didn't you include it? What is the reason why it's not there? But I always say a true reflective assessment of all the roles and responsibilities that you've had. So again, my template that I recommend for a tailor targeted resume is your name, your contact information, your phone number, then your career objective, the position, the company, and the whys, summary of qualifications with all those keywords that are out there for you to see embedded at the top of your resume and why you meet the qualifications of that position, Your skills are going to be important with certifications, education, your summary of all your experience. And at the end, I always recommend some how you get back to the community. Maybe you've done some volunteer work. For me, that is a well-rounded, tailored, and targeted resume. And at RBFCU, the volunteer work is critical, important to us because it's part of the culture at RBFCU where we do take a lot of, I believe, a lot of wonderful opportunities to give back to the community. So what do you think? Is that enough? A tailored, targeted resume? That should be enough, right? What about a
You would
cover
think.
letter? Anybody ever put? Oh, go ahead, Felicia. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying you would think it would be enough, but definitely not enough anymore.
Right? Because they want to be the most competitive candidate they can be, right? So if you have that tailored, targeted resume, how about that cover letter? Oh, Gilbert Palacio, thank you. I love the cover letter. It's something I will tell you. Every intern here at RBFCU, a cover letter is 100% required. If our college interns, if you will, if they applied for a position, they submitted a resume but no cover letter, we don't even move forward in the process because we have it built into our requirements. A cover letter is 100% required. But why would you want to provide a cover letter every single time you apply? Because guess what happens during the interview? They're going to ask you why RBFCU or whoever the company is. They're going to, what do you know about us? And so I like to include it in for our interns. I want to set them up for success. I want to set you up for success, right? Do your homework. Cover letter. I only recommend 2 paragraphs, 2 solid paragraphs. Has anybody ever done an elevator pitch? You know what it sounds like? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yeses, right? Yeah, your elevator pitch, put it on paper. Paragraph 1 is your elevator pitch. Sell us on you. Tell us all the wonderful things you've done. All the wonderful things you've done. That's paragraph 1. Anybody, what do you think paragraph 2 is about? If paragraph 1 is about you, what is paragraph 2 about? What do you think?
Should be about me.
What you like, what you would like to contribute, okay? How you would fit into the company. Yeah, the company. The company. Think about this. What question's going to come up in the interview? Why do you want to work at this company? Right? What do you know about the company? So paragraph 1 is about you. Again, dazzle us with all the wonderful things you've done. Paragraph 2 is I want you to dazzle us with what you know about RBFCU. Right? Do your homework. Dazzle us with what you know. Show us that you took the time, the effort, and the initiative, right, to do your research. And with, okay, AI today, it makes it so much easier, right? It does. But I'm also going to tell you what you submit, you own. So if you help have AI put together your resume or even your cover letter, make sure you've done that research. It'll help you to format it. We understand. But we want you to dazzle us with what you know about the company. In other words, after I read paragraph 2 of a cover letter that was submitted, I want to feel good about the company I work for. Largest credit union in the state of Texas, tripled in size in the last 10 years, more than 1.2 million members. Voted again one of the best companies to work for in the state of Texas, in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Plano. The new official, I'm going to say this, I guess I can. The new official credit union of the San Antonio Spurs. I think we're doing pretty good. Their new lucky charm. Hopefully you like the San Antonio Spurs, right? But again, these are things that are important. Dazzle the recruiter or the hiring manager who's looking at your resume and your cover letter. Dazzle them with what you know about the credit union or whoever the company is, right? We understand whoever the company is. Make them feel good about wanting to work there. Make them feel good, so much so that they want to reach out and call you. So I have a question. So if let's see, if you've done that, right, you've done everything we talked about, and the recruiter, many times I'll get calls from the recruiter saying, hey, Glenn, I saw Ashley or Sol, or I saw so many of you out there that have applied or for a position. We really like their resume, right? We really like their resume. And we're going to go ahead and give them a call. And usually I say, well, you should have called already. So if a recruiter is calling you right now and you don't pick up the phone, it rolls over to what? What do you think? What do you guys have? Think about that. So if a recruiter's calling you right now, there's only one reason they're calling after looking your application and um, looking at your cover letter. The only reason they're calling is they want to invite you in for an interview. They don't have to, but if you don't pick up the phone, just like Felicia said, it rolls over to your voicemail. How many of you have your voicemail set up? Yes. How many have your voicemail set up where it's your voice, not the automated? That's not what I'm looking for. How many of you have your voicemail set up where it's your voice? Something that says, "Hi, this is Lauren. Unfortunately, I'm unable to answer the call at this time. If you like, please leave a message. I'm going to get back with you just as soon as I can. Thank you so much for calling." If you have a voicemail set up and it's your voice, I'm going to challenge you to make it better, right? 80% of the time, 80% of the time, if your voicemail is not set up, many recruiters will move on. 80% of the time. If it is not set up and it's the automated voice, I'm going to ask you to set it up and use your voice. Make them want to call you back. Do not let a voicemail get in the way. It could be that first opportunity to leave a first positive and memorable impression, right? Somebody says, does it work? I've seen it work time and time again. Set it up, your voice. Hi, this is Glenn. Unfortunately, I'm unable to answer the call at this time. If you'd like, please leave a message. I'm going to get back with you as soon as I can. Thanks for calling. You hear the tone, the enthusiasm, the professionalism. That has to be there. Make them want to call you back. It can be a game changer. You all are working so hard to make a difference, to move forward, to continue on your career journey. Don't let a voicemail get in the way. I've seen it happen way too many times. I'll give you an example of somebody asked me to help somebody that was in HR and said this person's been looking. They're in a leadership role and they're moving to Texas, but they haven't been able to find employment. And so I said I'd be glad to help. And this was the message on their voicemail. Hey, this is Sarah. You know what to do. No. Do you want to talk to somebody like that in HR? I don't think so. I'll probably want to run. Another example, I work with a lot of transitioning service members, a gentleman that would go to the career fairs and some of the presentations, he came to a career fair and he says, I don't know why I come to these career fairs. Nobody ever calls. I never get any feedback or nobody calls me back. And I said, listen, maybe it is your resume. Let me take a look at it. And so I had a chance to look at his resume and I said, I'll give you a call back. So I looked at the resume. I called him back in a couple of days and I called him and I called him and I called him and I called him. Finally, about a week and a half later, he picked up the phone. And I said, Andre, this is Glenn with RBFCU. And he says, Glenn, I've been waiting for you to call. And I said, Andre, I've been calling. I have been calling. I said, what does your voicemail sound like? And he said, my what? I said, your voicemail. I said, it's not set up. How many calls had he been missing? How many calls did he miss? I will tell you, maybe a month and a half later, he came to a career fair and he wasn't looking for a job. He just wanted to come and say hello. He did get a job with a wonderful organization, but that voicemail can make a difference. It's not everything, but it's another one of those tools that you can use to make you as competitive as you possibly can be. So just in summary, again, a tailor-targeted resume, career objectives, summary qualifications with those skills, your education, wonderful education at WGU, then also your complete listing of your experience, if you will. If it goes past 10 years, then you could probably list the company in just maybe one bullet point of what the role was, and then also any volunteer work you may have done. a cover letter, tailored, targeted cover letter. Paragraph 1, all about you. Do not be afraid to sell us on you and all the wonderful things you've done in your career journey. Absolutely. Paragraph 2 is sell me on the company I already work for. Make me feel good about working at an organization, or me, or whoever the company is. Show them that you did your research. And to that question that I got earlier, show them your effort, your positive attitude, and your initiative to be the most competitive candidate you can be. And I think that leaves a first positive and memorable impression. So the recruiter's calling. Is there anybody that wants to answer an interview question? I'd like to do maybe just an interview question. Is there anybody that would want to unmute maybe? And I'm going to ask 2 interview questions. Felicia, if that's okay?
Absolutely. Is anybody willing to volunteer? Just raise your hand and I can unmute you.
And the position will be senior IT auditor, the one that we currently have out there.
Got it. Any volunteers? Okay, Marquetta. I hope I'm saying that
Hey,
right as well.
Marquetta.
I apologize if it's wrong. Let me unmute you.
It's actually Marquita.
Marquita, I am so
Marquita,
sorry
hi,
about
how you
that. Thank you
doing?
for
Hey,
volunteering.
hello. Not a problem.
Okay, so for the purpose of this exercise, the position we're going to do, hopefully this is with what you're targeting, maybe accounting, IT, but it's a general question. So I'm going to ask you an interview question. I guarantee this question is asked in several different ways, right? Many companies want to know, why did you apply? Some companies, are you interested in this position? So this is the question, Marquita. Thank you so much for applying to the senior IT auditor position. What's your career objective, and how does this position tie into your career objective?
Wow, thank you for the question. Well, my career objective, and I'm going to start there first. And of course, someone comes to my door just as um, could you hold? I'm so sorry. Can someone else take the question?
No,
I
no
just had
problem.
someone show up at my door just as you were asking the question. So
I have had that happen before too. No problem.
Let's see. Do we have another volunteer? Now that we have the question, it might be a little easier to be brave. Anybody? We might have a lot of commuters that are listening while they're commuting today.
Nicole, how about Nicole?
Willing? All right.
There you go.
Hello,
I'll
can you
make
hear
it
me?
easy. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Nicole. So again, here's the question. Thank you, Nicole, for applying to the senior IT audit position. What is your career objective, and how does this position tie into your career objective?
In relation to the senior IT audit position, what I'm seeking from this company is really implementing my experience as well as my background. Of course, I've always been a person that's associated with my community. Although I may be based in Houston, Texas, I'm really looking to relocate to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and take my
Fantastic.
expertise and apply it to a specific industry in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So great response. I like the tone and the inflection of your voice. But one of the other things I'd ask for you to do is ask for the order. Your career objective, right? Think about this. And you didn't quite go there. You didn't step over the role, right, that you're applying to. Ask for the order. Thank you so much for the question. My career objective is to be the best senior IT auditor you've hired. My career objective is to get this job so I can continue to grow and stay within the organization. So you're really close, but again, don't focus on tomorrow, right? Focus on today. Step into the role that you've applied to. Interview for that role, not the next. And the reason I bring that up, it's one of the most missed questions in an interview. People think that applicants believe that, oh, you want to know if I want to be the manager, director, the VP, or what? No, all I want to know is that you want the job that you applied for. Does that make sense? This job, no other. I would say, don't, and it's a softball question, to be honest with you. It's the easiest question to get right, but when people miss it, they usually realize it after the interview. Oh, they're not asking about tomorrow. They're asking for Nicole to own your now. And your now is to get the job that you've applied for. Now, here's what I'll also say. It's your role. It's your life. It's your goal. It's your career. Never take your eyes off, what you want to do in the future. But for that moment in time, you've got to convince them this job, no other. The here and the now. Make sense?
It does. Thank you so much for the input. I do appreciate it. Kind of just taking,
Absolutely.
yes, what you want to do for the future, presenting it right there in that moment.
That's right. Own your moment. Own your moment. And Felicia was nice. They did a little shout out on LinkedIn, and that was one of the things I said. Own your now, and your now is to be the best um, senior IT auditor we've ever hired. That's what they look for, right? And the other thing, many times, Nicole, you could be interviewing with the manager or director, and so you don't want to tell them, hey, I'm really good. I want your job. And usually they laugh and then they decline you saying not truly interested in the position applied for. So great job. Thank you for doing that. Let's see. I have one other question and has to do with compensation. Nicole, you want to go ahead and take that next question? Easy question, or the hardest question, depending how it goes, right? So I'll go ahead and ask you this question. So, Nicole, thanks for applying to the RBFCU Senior Audit IT Audit position. What's your salary expectation? What are you looking to make? How would you answer that?
To be frank, I have not answered this sort of question in an interview yet with the kinds of roles that I've looked at. But if I were to put myself in the position of a senior IT analyst, I would ask the range that they're expecting and then follow up with, hey, based off of my prior experience, I made X, Y, and Z. And so my expectation due to the industry standards and the current market price, if you will, would be insert a certain price.
So I like that, but some of what you just shared should be done even before the interview, right? Remember that effort, that initiative to do the research on the company, Glassdoor, salary.com. So instead of asking them for the range, do your research before to see if you can find the range. So something like this. Thanks for the question. Based on my research, my understanding this position pays between $75,000 and $90,000 a year. But this is exactly the position I'm looking for, so I am negotiable. Can you tell me about also the wonderful benefits your company offers? So you did your research. There's a range out there, right? It's the internet. You're not sure if it's right, or most people round up. But then second time in the interview, you told them this is the job I'm looking for. But now you've done your due diligence. Now it's up to the recruiter to sell you on the company. And part of it is not just the hourly rate or annual salary, right? It's the whole package, the benefits. And I'm going to tell you at RBFC, we definitely love to talk about the benefits. And I'll share this with you. So we're competitive, without a doubt, when it comes to compensation. We look at the applicant and what they would bring to the position. We always look to make the best offer we possibly can. But here's the other thing we do. We also will talk about the benefits. So at RBFC, medical, dental, and vision from day one of employment. We have a 2-for-1 match on the 401k plan. So if you put in 4% into the RBFC 401k plan from day one, RBFC will put in another 8% on top of it. It's a 200% match. If you can put it in 6%, we'll put in another 10% on top of your 6. We have an end of year bonus depending on how well the organization has done. I'm celebrating 16 years. We've received it every single year. We have generous paid time off. So in the course of the first year, you would have earned about 22 and a half days of paid time off, a little over 4.5 weeks. If you don't use it, you don't lose it. It rolls over and you can accrue up to 600 hours. We have a wonderful health and wellness program where we do biometric screening every year for our employees. It's completely voluntary if you do it. If you meet a certain baseline, then what we'll do is give you a discount on your already low healthcare premiums. If you don't meet that certain baseline number, then what we do is we identify health and wellness activities throughout the state of Texas. If our employees want to run a 5K or a marathon, or maybe to go to something called the Corporate Cup that we participate, there's so many different things, pickleball or you name it, then we'll look to pay for the cost of our employees participating in that as well. all that to say, we are extremely competitive when it comes to compensation. I do believe we have world-class benefits, great growth opportunities within RBFCU as we continue to grow. But for me, what has kept me here for more than 16 years is the caring culture of RBFCU, our people helping people philosophy. And that's why I'm here today. Hopefully I can help you find employment opportunities. Obviously, we'd love for you to take a look at employment opportunities at RBFCU, but if this helps, please, I'm glad to help in any way. Let me share this with them also, Felicia. If any of you do decide to apply for positions, you're more than welcome, now that we've gone through this platform, is to put me down as somebody that you know. Just a couple other really quick things. Before you apply, obviously engage your network. I think that's going to be important. Again, you're more than welcome to put me down as somebody you know. Be prepared for a phone interview. Remember, if a recruiter's calling you, there's only one reason they're calling after you've applied for a job, is because they want to talk with you. Plus, they probably want to verify and validate some of the information. But at the end of the day, you've got to be ready once you apply, because really, they really want to invite you in for an interview, and they don't have to. But just be thoughtful about that. I also say update and set up your voicemail today. Your voice, no other should be on that voicemail. Sometimes you only get one chance to leave a first positive and memorable impression. You got to make it count. You got to make it count. Again, and we talked about this, Nicole, thanks for letting me ask you these questions. Interview for the position you are in the room for, not the next. Do not get ahead of yourself. Your career goal should always be to get the position you applied for. Do not tell the hiring manager, recruiter, that you want to get your foot in the door. We don't have any. And then become a manager or supervisor, or even express interest in other positions within the organization. Do not step over the job that you've applied for. Embrace it. Embrace it. There's an interest. You saw it, you're applying for it. Articulate your true interest in the position you are interviewing for, no other. Be prepared for a panel interview. Virtually, there's all these different techniques. If somebody asks me a question, I usually will start my response to the other panelists and end with the person that asked me that question. Always have questions prepared before the interview. Write them down, take them in there with you. Some may come up during the interview. Again, when you ask questions, show them that you've done your research and are truly interested in that role. Always take time to say thank you. As a recruiter and hiring manager, there's nothing better for somebody to say thank you. I'll give you an example of something that is critically important, something that actually, Felicia, this just happened this weekend. I always look for an opportunity to help out and give career development advice anywhere I possibly can. In San Antonio, there's HEBs, right? All over Texas, I think there's HEBs. I don't know if anybody, it's our grocery store. Young man that was helping me out. He could tell that I work for RBFCU, and he was graduating from the same university. Long story short, I gave him some career development tips and techniques. I saw him this past weekend at this health and wellness event called the Corporate Cup in San Antonio. He saw me, and he came up and he said it worked. He was now working for the company that he was interviewing. He said he used the tips and techniques that him and I talked with. And the reason I did it is because when he said hello, he meant it. How's your day? You know, do you work at RBFCU? Absolutely, I wanted to tell him. But most important, he was genuine in his conversation, although he was, working at the the checkout line, if you will. That engaging conversation left a first positive and memorable impression to me, if you will. And there he was at this event, just saying thank you. So remember, sometimes those individuals you meet can make a difference. It's happened to me on the other side. Here's my last thing is practice interviewing with friends, family members, and friends. I usually ask, do you have a significant other, and have you ever interviewed with them? And many times, most of the time, people say, oh, no, I've never interviewed. I always sort of challenge them a little bit, because if you are in that type of relationship, you've sort of got the job. I think I'm still interviewing with my wife after many, many years, but the reason I say practice interviewing with them is because they will help you to sound real. Remember, you want to sound real. You want to have a conversation with the recruiter and hiring manager. you want to start turning that tide for them to say, hey, Nicole's no longer a candidate. I can see her as somebody I want to work with, right? Have a conversation, and your friends and your family will help you to get you in that right mindset, but also help you with the tone and inflection of your voice to sound real. And with that, does anybody have any additional questions?
Thank you, Glenn. I did have one side question. As I mentioned, there are a few people joining us today that have already applied. Is there a
Okay.
way for them to go back into their application and add a cover letter after they've already submitted?
No, but it doesn't hurt if they have if they've have already applied. If they do have a cover letter, there's a link. It says HR. I want to say HR recruiters at RBFCU. If you go to the website, you'll see the link. I would say exactly what they said. I did not include my resume, and because if you think about, so for our internship, it's 100% required, but on our applicants, right, other positions, it's not. It's preferred. So they are more than welcome to go ahead and say, hey, HR recruiters, I applied for this position. I didn't update my resume, and so go ahead and yeah, they can send it that way. Felicia, one other thing, some of these applicant tracking systems, sometimes they only will allow you to update or embed one document. So if that's the case, then I would do your cover letter as page 1, right? Don't write any books, a cover letter, 2 solid paragraphs, no books, but then your cover letter first, and then include your resume after that. That's the one document. Most applicant tracking systems will allow you to do that. Great question. But
That's a
again,
good point.
send it, and yeah, send it, no doubt about it, and just say you forgot to attach it, or you wanted to include a cover letter, and just send it, and it'll go to the right recruiter for the job you've applied to.
Perfect. I'll make sure to pull that email and include it in the follow-up email that I send out with our recording and everything for anybody that does need to go back and add a cover letter to their application already. If there is anybody else with any questions, feel free to throw those into the chat or raise your hand and I can unmute you. I do think we are coming up on the hour. With our technical issues, we did run a little bit over, so I appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. I really hope you got some good insights into the applicant process and, hopefully find a position with RBFCU that you're interested in applying for. But I think I'm not seeing any other questions come through. So just for the sake of time, just in case anybody else is joining another session here soon, I think we can probably go ahead and wrap up. Again, I will send the recording as well as the survey and a couple other things in the follow-up email probably tomorrow morning. The link I put in the chat earlier for your job scan, as students, we automatically get a free premium account to JobScan, and it does help you tailor every application, every resume, every cover letter to the job that you're interested in. So definitely, I recommend checking that out if you're looking into doing a couple of applications here soon. But I'll go ahead and I'll let everybody go for now. Thank you again so much, Glenn, for joining us. You're always the first to volunteer for these projects when we have them come up, and we definitely appreciate your dedication.
Thank you so much, Felicia, and always enjoy working with you. Come join the team. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love to do individual career development, and congratulations on pursuing and continuing your education with WGU. Phenomenal. We definitely have hired WGU students. So hope everybody has a great afternoon and enjoyed meeting with you. Until the next time, Felicia.
You too, Glenn. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. See you later.